Dude, come on, man. Here we are. It's Lit Book Reviews back at it. All right, we are here again. I'm with Meryl Streep. The name's Dennis Quaid over here.
Dennis Quaid.
And we're ready to get after another one. Today, we're going to be talking about the first two installments in the Murderbot Diaries by Martha Wells. Let's go ahead and start.
He's killing Larry Boy down there. I mean, god dang, dude. It smells like a gas chamber in here.
My brother's cooking some gnarly food downstairs, I guess. Just eat down there. I don't know what he's cooking, but... let's go ahead and get into it with All Systems Red. So the Murderbot Diaries, if you hadn't heard about it, is a series of books following AI dude, a freaking like part robot, part person. I don't even really know yet at this point. He's a robot with organic material, whatever that means.
Yeah.
Which, are we going to do like spoiler, non-spoiler? I mean, these books are like 150 pages long, so I feel like we can just dive into them.
Yeah. What's your non-spoiler if you were going to give a one
like just one little
promo
bleep. Really entertaining short read. Like refreshing. If you're like reading a lot and you need like a, not that it's like not a great book on its own, because I do think these books are good. But it's a great like palate cleanser. Like if you're reading like thicker books, which we have been, it's nice to just knock out a quick 150 pager that's kind of, you know, you're not having to like think a ton or sit there and go, oh, well, what's happening? Like, you know,
I'd be curious to know what the word count is too, because it may be 150 pages, but it's not the same 150 pages.
It fit on 40 pages of a Sanderson book.
So these are easily readable in a day, even for someone like I'm not even a fast reader at all, and I'm reading these. I read the first two each in a day.
Yeah, I read both of them in 24 hours, not in the same day, but in 24 hours I read both of them. So the first one's called All Systems Red. It's got 192,000 ratings on Goodreads with a 4.16 overall. So I gave this one a 4. What'd you give it, this first one?
Yeah, after reading the second one, I think I gave it a 5 initially, and then I bumped it down to a 4. And I think I gave the 5, not to jump ahead, but I think I gave the 5 the second one.
Yeah. So this first one, just to give you an idea if you haven't read them, in a corporate-dominated space-faring future, planetary missions must be approved and supplied by the company, capital C. For their own safety, exploratory teams are accompanied by company-supplied security androids. I mean, that's a wild...
They could have used another word.
Any other word for that. But in a society where contracts are awarded to the lowest bidder, safety isn't a primary concern. On a distant planet, a team of scientists is conducting surface tests, shadowed by their company-supplied droid, a self-aware SEC unit that has hacked its own governor module and refers to itself, though never out loud, as Murderbot. Scornful of humans, Murderbot wants is to be left alone. Nice. A grammar error on Goodreads.
Didn't you say there were grammar errors in the book itself?
Yeah, we'll get to that. But Murderbot wants to be left alone long enough to figure out who it is, but when a neighboring mission goes dark, it's up to the scientist and Murderbot to get to the truth. So, yeah, just real quickly, I didn't notice it in the second book, but in the first book, there were like 4 or 5 times where I was like, and I reread it just because every now and then you'll read a sentence, think it's not right, and then you'll go back and read, like, oh, that's just me.
Yeah,
that's just me misreading. No. This had like 4 or 5, like either the word... like the sentence didn't make sense, or that it wasn't pluralized right, or there wasn't quotations or whatever, punctuation.
I didn't see any in mine, but I probably just missed it. But I wonder if like the Kindle edition, I'm surely they've fixed it.
Yeah, in later editions.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is the first one. If you can see, and I just touched your cord. Hopefully that didn't do anything. Really little books. I've actually got all 6 of them that are out sitting right there, because you know us, we don't just buy a book. If there's a series to be purchased, we're buying every single one of them.
And if you have Kindle Unlimited, they're free on Kindle Unlimited. As like a little plug for Amazon.
And even if I had a Kindle, I still would have bought them. I just love having them.
Yeah, they are
physical.
cool looking, I will say. The covers are cool. Did you know Martha Wells is H.G. Wells' daughter?
I didn't until you told me recently.
Which I think is cool that she's, also doing science fiction.
Yeah.
When he did War of the Worlds, which that's like, at least the movie. I've never read the book, but...
Yeah, I've only seen Tom Cruise, right?
Maybe.
I think there's an earlier one, but Tom Cruise did one.
Yeah.
But yeah,
that
so
sounds right.
all systems red. So essentially that's the synopsis. What are your like kind of what would be your blurb on
Yeah,
it?
similar to what you said, just something easy to read in a day if you're like us and you got that Goodreads yearly challenge that you need to catch up on.
Mm-hmm.
These right here for you. It's first person, but because it's so short, it's just, like you said, it's a refreshing read. It's very different. But at the same time, like it's still action packed and it's interesting.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely gonna read the whole series, as I'm sure you are too. Like,
Yeah, pretty soon here. We'll have some upcoming videos covering all the ones that are out, and then I believe the 7th one's coming out this year, if not early next. So
I kind of like what she's doing though with because dude, she could combine these into one book, you know.
Yeah.
But like, she's making way more money by
sure.
doing them individually, and it is kind of interesting how she's dragging us along with little short things.
Well, what's cool about them so far, at least, like we've only read the first 2, which we'll get into the second one here as well, but they're like isolated stories that the Murderbot guy is experiencing, but there's like this tether of another like subplot, which I'm sure will get bigger and bigger and more involved as it goes, and we'll talk about it more in the second book. But essentially he's trying to like figure out his past. He calls himself Murderbot because he believes that something went wrong at one of his past contracts and he killed a lot of people, and he's unsure because he had his memory partially wiped. He explains how it can't all be wiped, but most of it is. But he basically explains that like he can't remember if he was ordered to do it and couldn't control himself, or if like he went like, something snapped, something short circuited and he just started killing people. So there's kind of that in the background of this story, but this story is not about that. So as it said, he's basically just protecting a team of scientists that's like getting samples from a planet.
Yeah.
And the book starts out, bro. I mean, it throws you right into it. He's just sitting there thinking, and then a huge monster comes out of the ground and almost kills one of the people, and he's got to jump in and save it. And it also drops in. So you pretty quickly learn that something weird is going on, because as he's saving one of the people in that first chapter or second chapter in the beginning, he like notices that there's an order sent in for him to stop saving the people. And he ignores it because, again, he has hacked his governor module, so he's like technically a rogue unit, a rogue robot already, but he's still kind of just like going through the motions so that he doesn't get in trouble.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. I think it's good. Are you ready to rip into this?
Yeah, let's rip into it. I kind of already did.
Are we just going to do the first one?
Yeah, we'll do both.
But you know what I mean? Like, are we going to do spoilers for the first one and second one together, or are we going to only do spoilers for the first one and then do non-spoilers again for the second one? What do you think we should do? I don't know.
Let's just go ahead and do non-spoilers for both.
Yeah, exactly. So the second one, it's a different story, but then has what you just said too. The continuation of that underlying story. I would just read the first 2 if I was somebody. Yeah, I mean, you can probably read all of them. The second one I like a lot
pretty quickly.
Yeah, but if you're gonna like sit down and read, I would download both of them at the same time, read the first one, and then know the second one's better than the first one. So if you like the first one, then you'll be able to easily. And the thing is too, is the buy-in's like so little. It's like if you read this and didn't like it, it's like I really didn't lose much.
I mean, yeah, you should be able to read it fairly quickly.
So the second one I liked more.
I liked it more too. I still gave it a 4, but if it were on a scale of 10, it would have been a star higher. It would have been 1 point higher than the first one. But because it's a 5-star rating system, I still just gave it a 4.
I see what you're saying.
It didn't quite hit the 5 for me. I don't really know why, but it just didn't give me that like, wow, this was almost a perfect
I feel
book.
like I'm pretty generous with my stars, and I shouldn't be. I need to probably go back and just like re-rate everything. It's just the 5-star thing.
Well, I feel like it changes
I don't
too
know.
as you read more. You start to have a different perspective. Like I've never really read books like this, so I don't have like another robot or AI or like super futuristic book like this to really compare it to, other than Dune, which has nothing like this book in it.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know. I think that's part of it. As you read more and more, like, 'cause at this point, I've read so much history. If I read some of the books early on again now, they would probably get like, some of them would get lower ratings.
Yeah.
Or maybe even higher. But anyway, yeah. So I gave it a 4 on the second one. The second one's called Artificial Condition. And yeah, I do think it's better. I don't know what that cover is because I don't remember that scene in the book,
That's
unless
the
it's from
ship,
like the
bro.
very beginning.
Right?
Oh, is that
Is that the ship?
him?
Boy. I would assume.
I was picturing more of like a.
It's like a cargo ship, was it not? I was expecting.
Yeah,
it
but
to
I
be
thought they
something
were on like a
huge.
track, like some kind of subway system, essentially.
What, when he was like out into the abyss?
Yeah, wait, what ship are you talking about though? Are you talking about the ship that he like
Communicates
teams up
the whole
with?
time?
Yeah, I thought that was more of like a. I thought it was like in a subway system almost. But no, you're right. Actually, no,
Oh.
you're right. That is him.
I thought you were talking about when he goes in the subway system.
Yeah,
Kinda thing.
you're right. I'm conflating two things. So anyway, so yeah, non-spoiler. Both of these books are really cool. Again, we've kind of said what we can say and not really get into it. They're really short, so it's kind of hard to really talk about anything without spoiling it, because once you say a few sentences, you've kind of spoiled it.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of so I'd say like as far as like what you're gonna get out of this book, there's a good bit of like intrigue and kind of mystery, kind of like the underlying story, and
Yeah.
there's also a really cool aspect of the world building where, and I kind of said this to you, where you don't get like, it's all first person, which I usually don't read,
Yeah.
and I probably wouldn't like in a lot of instances, but it's really good in these. But what was I just saying? Oh, the world building you get, like understanding the nature of the world and the environment, you just get obviously from him, but you don't really get a lot of pieces where he's just like going on a rant about the world.
Yeah.
It's more so as stuff comes up, he'll explain it, because he's saying it as if he's leaving like a recording for someone to talk
Yeah.
about like what he's experiencing.
I mean, it's a diary for sure.
Yeah, it's basically a diary entry for him, like in his mind. So you only get the world building when something comes up that's related to that aspect of the world, which I kind of like. There's a lot of
no
stuff that you just
off-page
don't
stuff
know
about him.
Yeah,
Because
no.
like if he shuts down, he shuts down.
You just
and you don't
pick
know
up
what's
when he
going
wakes
on
up.
until he powers
Yeah.
back on.
Which yeah, it's really cool. So there's a lot to be like, in a sense, there's a lot to be wanted, but not in a bad way. Not in the sense that you're like, okay, I don't enjoy this as much because I don't know X, Y, and Z. It's more so like a mystery and intrigue, and she does a really good job of letting you know certain things as you need to know them, but leaving some other stuff like kind of just for your own imagination or
explanation.
Yeah. So I like that aspect of it a lot. I really like the character. I like Murderbot.
I like
he's a cool
too,
character.
Yeah. I didn't know how we're still non-spoilers. But yeah, I like him too.
Yeah. Nice.
Yes. I was going to say something else, but I don't want to like...
Yeah.
It's probably not like spoilery, but just in case.
Yeah. So, kind of like Andrew said too, I mean, they kind of go up and down as far as like, some necessary things that have to happen in between things, him figuring stuff out, to some pretty cool action scenes. And she does a really good job of like, one paragraph, you're just like, okay, we're learning something, we're doing something pretty chill, and then the next paragraph, stuff just starts happening.
Yeah.
And it's not choppy. It doesn't feel like jerky. It like just seems like real, like what's happening to him as it happens. So the action's really cool. I do like her action sequences.
I like it a lot too. It's definitely action packed. It's not very slow paced.
Yeah.
Lots of dialogue. Definitely his kind of journey emotionally too, as he's kind of learning to deal with the world and like have more responsibility and just it's a cool dynamic of him being a robot who's supposed to be doing this one thing and he's like kind of doing something else. So
but he does, and he has the organic tissue, so we won't get into specifics right now, but there are like as a human relatable aspects to his character, because he's experiencing some human like emotions or physical things, because he does have some of that human tissue for whatever reason.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think non-spoiler, they're dope. All right, spoilers. So starting out with All Systems Red, he's with the science team. I mean, what are some of your first spoiler thoughts?
The only thing, dude, it's like why I hate it when authors pick names that like you can't pronounce.
So many.
I couldn't pronounce basically half of the. I don't know. A lot of those people were not distinguishable for me. I know there was the leader. I should know her name. I didn't write it down. Like I didn't take any notes for this, which is shows no preparation. Mensa.
Mm-hmm.
So I could tell like her character obviously.
Yeah.
And then there was the one guy who was like
Gutharin or something.
Yeah, he like didn't like him.
Yeah.
but he was also the guy he was augmented or whatever.
Which means he's a human mostly, but he does have some like robotic like parts.
So that's why I was saying like he's not a human.
No, so yeah, the Murderbot is not a human. I was just saying like he has that
flesh.
That flesh, and like part of his brain is human. He talks about that.
Really?
Yeah, he has a human
didn't catch
brain
that.
partially. Yeah.
Then what's the difference between him and an augmented human?
Well, they say, I can't remember if it's in the first or second one, but they do talk about how like he's a clone. So like all of his flesh is like a clone of like a real person. So I don't really know. I think she's doing it on purpose.
I thought he just had flesh over top of metal.
I mean, maybe that's kind of it, but
yeah.
I mean, again, there's a lot left out, and so I think some of it's left to
yeah.
your imagination. But
Of what's going on? That was weird. I didn't know how I felt about him like having a human face.
yeah, it is weird.
You know what I mean? Like when he took his like.
And they make it super weird.
Yeah, they make it super weird. Then, like you said, how it's kind of a mystery until it happens. Like, I wasn't expecting that. Like for him to take his helmet off and him to have a face.
I wouldn't either.
It does like make a cool dynamic, I guess, of him like almost feeling insecure.
Yeah.
And he's a robot, which is funny. But yeah, as far as like the other characters, they were just kind of like, eh. Like I have them or leave them. I mean, obviously it was. I can only really even remember those two. Yeah, her and then the guy.
Yeah,
But then there were some other people that like he saves and.
It was like a Ramley.
Yeah, I couldn't.
But they don't
hold
talk
on
a
to
lot
them.
either.
Yeah.
Mensa and Guthard are like the most important ones that like do stuff.
Yeah, I feel like the other ones didn't even really matter, especially the Mensa girl. Like she was really the one who only matters from that, especially with how it ends.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it was cool kind of seeing what his responsibilities are and like learning kind of what sec units are. I feel like the first book is just learning what his job is.
Yeah, and how they're supposed to do stuff opposed to how he does.
Yeah, if he's doing if he actually has the governor in, like how he works.
Yeah.
Which I thought was interesting and kind of learning what he can and can't do, like even just like OP wise, because I mean he kind of gets savaged when they like go to that neighboring village, and he like powers off and they power him back on, or well he powers off and then like conveniently powers right back on before he gets killed. I think right.
You're talking about when they go to the other team's like facility.
Yeah, and they'd been like wiped out, and then there's those rogue sec units that are there, and he like kills one or two maybe, and then like he kind of like blacks out, and then he wakes up and he's like about to get savaged, and he like saves himself kind of, and then what's her face walks in. I may be like messing up the details of that, but anyway. But I thought like you said before, the action's pretty fast paced, and
and there's always like a level of like at least minor suspense as to like when is like something about to go down.
Yeah.
Because both books, like you get the sense that like, okay, something's going on. And you're also like, you're reading a 150-page book, so you just know like, okay, like stuff's about to have to start going down because I've only got 40 pages left or whatever point you're in. Which again is kind of a cool aspect of reading a shorter book like this. You just get a lot more
him being
quickly.
able, like one of my main thoughts was the fact that he's so OP in this world because the way he's able to have so much visual intel as far as like hacking into security cameras and stuff, and so
and his drones.
Yeah, and then more into the second book, but like the way he's like not even like watching, I guess, through his eyes. He's like watching through something else to see how he's actually acting or how he actually looks.
Yeah. Which is such a cool thing. Because I was thinking, I was like, at first when he was talking about how he'd watch like the security feed to look at his own facial expressions, I was like, man, that's of course a robot would do that because he can't feel his face. But then I was thinking, well, I don't necessarily always know what my face looks like when I make a facial expression.
You think you know what it looks like.
You think you do. Like you think you look a certain way, and then if you happen to like make a face in the mirror for whatever reason, you're like, is that what I look like every time I do that? Like I've watched some of these videos when I make certain faces, and I'm like, why did I make that face? Why
Dude,
did I think
like
I made that face?
When you smile for a picture, you like really have to practice smiling because sometimes you think your smile looks way different than it really does, and you're like that's how my dad looks, bro. Every time my mom's always roasting him up about how he doesn't smile in pictures, and so then he smiles and it's just
dude.
It looks like he's in pain.
I remember when I was younger, for like school pictures when I was like 14 years old. I don't know why, but I like got it in my head that it was cooler. It looked cooler if you smiled and you didn't show your teeth. So I tried to like. But see, I didn't even do that. I did this weird thing where I thought I was making like a cool smile, and I ended up basically going like just like almost puckering my lips a little bit. And dude, I looked like an idiot in that picture, bro. And it was when I used to freaking hairspray the out of my hair, so I got this like freaking rock on my head of hair, like waving back. It was tough, but yeah, I thought that was really cool. Also, something I thought was really cool was like he doesn't need sleep like a person, but he does have to like power down to get to like, you know, recharge basically. But when he's powered down and recharging, he's watching TV.
Yeah.
Like he's watching shows and movies that he likes. And I'm like, bro, if I could read while I was sleeping, I mean, can you imagine, bro?
Dude, in your dreams, just.
Well, but you like remember it?
It's like that Rick and Morty episode, dude.
Which one?
There's a Rick and Morty episode where like when they're asleep, they're like doing stuff. Like they have, but then their like sleep versions start like revolting and they don't know it because like they're asleep, obviously. Yes. But like they were using it like. Morty used it to like work out while he was asleep, so he'd wake up and he's like jacked.
Yeah, that's right.
Because he's like got abs and stuff, and I think that's what Rick was doing
and then
too.
His sleep version start like wilding out.
Exactly, yeah. And then of course it's Jerry's sleep version that like saves them all. I think because he feels bad or whatever.
Jerry's the true hero of Rick and Morty.
God, yeah, I guess he is.
Speaking of Rick and Morty, dude, I don't think we're getting any more because that one dude got canceled.
Which is a tragedy because he's all of the characters that matter.
Yeah, he like does a lot of the writing and all the voice acting.
Yeah, that show's gone forever because they're going to try and replace him and then it's just not going to be the same.
It's not going to be the same at all.
I think he does the voices, bro, for a lot of that like Solar Opposites too, right?
I don't know what that is.
Oh, it's a show that basically is the same exact vibe.
I know that the guys that do Rick and Morty are involved in a lot of different things, and I guess we're just not getting any of them anymore. Now, granted, from what I read and saw, I do think he did something pretty bad. So
I feel like it involves children.
It's deserved what happened to him. It's just a shame for the fan base. But it's also one of those things where you're like, you know, Rick and Morty's such like the humor is so dark and they like push the envelope. So you kind of start to think it's like makes sense as one of the guys that does stuff like that did this thing. But at the same time, I mean, all kinds of people do nasty shit. But
yeah. But anyway, no, it is a cool concept, man, dude. Yeah, it'd be. If you could just do one task, like it's not even like I could do multiple tasks. If I could just choose one task to always do when I sleep.
Yeah. And it's pretty cool, like as a robot, like one of the things you pick up on is he says pretty often like he'd rather just be watching his shows.
Yeah, he doesn't want to do anything.
Such a human thing to like want to just kind of recluse yourself from the world and just watch TV, well, you know, watch Netflix and chill and freaking sit around.
Yeah.
And even as a robot that can like, he's basically like a freaking what you call a cyborg from like the Justice League, where he can like turn his arm into a blaster. Like he's more limited than that, but he's got some pretty dope like abilities. And so it's kind of crazy that he's just like, I'd just rather sit somewhere in the dark and watch stuff while I'm asleep, basically.
Yeah, between that and like basically he does. I think he feels pain, but it just isn't the same. Like I think he understands, I guess, how pain works, so it just doesn't faze him.
Yeah,
he'll just get destroyed, and it's like.
Yeah.
Keep going forward.
Yeah, an action scene will start going. He'll be like, I took one shot to the chest, took one blaster shot to the leg.
I lost 32%. It's like, you know, it's all like a percentage.
He's just acting the same.
Yeah.
All right. So anyway, essentially in this one, you're on a planet, and basically to kind of encompass the whole story, what starts happening is and it actually is like, and I wonder if it'll come back to it at any point, like Mensa's team and what was really going on this planet. I feel like it will in one of these later books, but because you don't really fully understand what they were trying to find, but essentially the same, like the scientist team that Murderbot is with is sampling the surface of this planet. And then there's certain areas that are like blacked out on their map. They start realizing some weird stuff is going on. This other team at a different facility, like on the other side of the planet, goes dark. They don't hear anything. So they go to check it out, find all of them dead, and then eventually find their murder bots, or a couple other murder bots that weren't supposed to be there, sec units. And they attack our murder bot.
Yeah.
They end up killing those sec units, but Murderbot almost gets killed in the process. He wakes up. They're trying to heal him. He gets healed. And essentially what you find out is this other group of people like wants whatever's on this planet, and they don't want anyone else to even know about it. So they're just killing these people. And you don't really ever find out what that is, like what that resource does, or like why they're trying to hide it. You don't even really necessarily find out.
It's very vague
where they're from.
I'm sure it'll tie right back into his initial.
But again, it's cool because it's just first person. Like he didn't find out, so we don't either. Like we don't really know what happened. But one of the coolest parts that I thought was really sweet, like not like, oh, that's sweet, but I guess you could take it that way too. When he, at some point, I don't remember now. I don't remember how it happened. It must have been when he got shot in the back when they go to the other facility or whether he gets like blown through basically.
Mm-hmm.
But then Mensa or one of the other ones comes in and kills that sec unit that shot him before he finishes him off. But that sec unit, I guess, had already stuck that like thing into his port. So once he gets woken up, he realizes that like he's about to lose control, and he has an order to kill all of the people in his thing. And so then he just shoots himself through the chest. Remember that?
Yeah.
But then he wakes up. They have it all removed. He's good to go. And then that takes us to kind of the final act where they confront this other group. But is there anything else before that point that stuck out to you or you remember that you wanted to talk about?
Yeah, I mean, he has a couple weird interactions, especially once they start like accepting him. Like they're like letting him sit in the front seat and stuff, and he's like, I don't want to sit in the front seat.
Yeah, he's like really uncomfortable by it.
Yeah, it's just funny. I guess it kind of reminds me of like a teenager or someone who like just doesn't want to be around, which maybe like is a part of that development, because who knows like how long he's actually been
without his governor.
Yeah. So
I hadn't actually thought about that. That probably is.
It might be kind of like a development thing.
Yeah.
Of him not, but he still has this like weird sense of loyalty to still do his job even, and he always like makes these statements that like he's like basically really bad, like not doing a very good job at it, like not doing a good job at his job, and it's like, but these people are still alive, like you know what I mean? It's the classic like
he's very self-deprecating.
Yeah, exactly. When it's anyway, he's just saying he's not doing his job very well when clearly he's going above and beyond, it seems. Yeah. It's more just his attitude of not wanting to associate personally with them, which like makes so much sense because he doesn't actually care.
Yeah.
So, which like to me, to like not to jump too far to the end, but like to tie that in, I love that he left and like didn't care.
Yeah. Well, it's crazy because like he doesn't care overall, but in like when it comes down to like life, he does care. So, like, he doesn't care about, like, the overall things, but he doesn't want people to die. So he does still want to save them. Like, he makes a couple comments throughout both books where he's like, I could just leave now because I actually don't care, but I'm not going to let them die.
No, I'm saying, like, at the very, very end when she frees him and he's like, all right, well, I'm leaving.
He just
day
dips
one,
out.
I'm leaving.
Yeah, he immediately
and
leaves.
then, like, doesn't feel, like, he, like, I guess somewhat feels bad about it, but he's like, all right, I feel bad for this once. All right, now I'm not going to feel bad for it. Like, he did feel bad for it in this moment, but now that moment's gone, so now I don't have to feel bad. Now I'm on to the next thing.
Yeah.
Which is funny, which I'm sure, obviously, that's going to have to be a returning theme in the next couple books. But anyway, that, like, the way his mind works is just hilarious to me.
Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty funny. So, yeah, basically the last act is them confronting that other team, and you don't get a lot of information, but Murderbot basically tricks them into thinking that he's going to, like, comply and bring Mensa to them. And then there's kind of this, like, factor of you find out late in the book that Mensa is, like, an important political figure. And there's, like, these cool little things she puts in there about how, like, elected officials still do their jobs that they had before, and like that was just part of her required job where she has to like every so often do something revolving to her area of expertise. So you don't really find out what exactly she does politically, but Murderbot knows it's important when he finds out, and then this other, basically your antagonist team that you don't learn much about, when they find out who it is, they're like, oh crap, like we're gonna have to like treat this a little bit differently. But either way,
she seems to be like one of the few good people out there, because she's especially talking about how like he needs to be treated like a normal person, and stuff that apparently is pretty like just no one else is thinking that type of stuff.
Yeah, because Murderbot makes comments about how like sec units are often like just used for like they'll just order two sec units to fight each other to the death for like entertainment, or they'll throw stuff at them or like shoot them and tell them to stand there.
Yeah,
and it's just kind of like that would happen. For sure.
But
if we had like robots, we would definitely get, people would get drunk and be like, all right, dude, don't move no matter what I do. And then just start like pin shooting them just everywhere just to see what happens, which is just, it does seem awful. But
it doesn't, especially it's a machine. So like that's the other thing.
But if they lift their helmet up and you're basically looking at what looks exactly like a human and you're doing that, there's something weird going on.
Yeah,
you want to kill people. Yeah, if you're doing that.
You're like, I want to feel what it feels like without like the repercussions of really taking a real life.
Yeah. But it is cool how he also like sees and mentions it a couple times. He's like compared to him, humans are like very frail and he could just go on an absolute murder spree and kill as many as he
Yeah.
wanted, if he wanted to. Which again kind of touches on just the general idea in modern times about fears about AI and how if we make them, you know, however powerful, like they could easily just, you know, wreck us.
Oh,
and that
yeah.
kind of thing.
Well, I mean, he's so OP, dude. I mean, like, as you see in the second book, and then you realize, like, oh, dude, this other freaking robot is way more OP than he is as far as, like, information goes. Maybe he's not as motivated to, like, do other outside things. I guess that's the only, like, thing holding these guys back is, like, they don't have, like, motivations, really. And, like, I feel like that's probably what makes him different is that he does have, like, an outside pull to, like, go look back into his past.
Yeah. And he does make comments, too, about how, like, at one point he says he wouldn't be able to do something to, like, a security system. Like, he said he could, but he wouldn't want to. And you don't really know why. You think, like, oh, he just, like, it would be hard and, like, take him a while. But then later he mentions it again, how I don't want to, like, hack this security system in this way or to this degree, because that's kind of a weird thing to do. Because he's a robot, he sees other, like, robots or bots or whatever as, like, you know, the way we see people.
Yeah.
So for him, like, hacking a system and taking over it is like, you know, like messing a person up. But so yeah, it's just cool how he has this morality about him to a degree.
Yeah.
So it makes him more human, more relatable, like I've kind of said. It gave me a lot of iRobot vibes, the Will Smith movie.
I've actually never seen that movie.
Yeah, we've talked about this, man. It's a really good movie. You should
I do
see
want to
it.
read the book and see the movie too. I mean, I've heard good things about it. I don't know why I haven't. I like remember when it came out in theaters. Like I remember the commercial and stuff for it.
Yeah.
I just for some reason have never seen it.
Yeah, Will Smith is great in it. Keep my wife's name. He's great. What are you doing? Oh.
Don't worry about it. It's not on camera.
Jeez.
The camera's neck up.
It's
My little sword.
Oh yeah.
My little sword.
My little Punny. Yeah. Shout out Taylor. She got us some little sword bookmarks that are actually pretty sick. She also got us. This would actually be good for like readers. I didn't know this existed, but she got both Andrew and I a. It's called a talisma, Georgian handcraft Caucasian walnut. And basically, basically what you do is you like if you're reading a book, you put this on your thumb. Like, and I think it's like it depends on the book if it's really good. If you have like a super heavy book, it may not be more comfortable than whatever you're doing, but especially on smaller books, put this in your thumb and then do this, and it just makes it to where you can hold it one-handed very easily. So I just named it for you. I'll name it again. Talisma, Georgian handicraft, Caucasian walnut. I don't know if you have to type in all that, but I don't even really know what this is called, this device. Like, it's just layman's term name.
Thingamajig.
A little thingamajig. But anyway, shout out Taylor. Appreciate the gifts. Very thoughtful. And these are cool. If you're a reader, might as well. I don't think they're expensive. And the bookmarks are sick. There's little swords. I mean, you could probably really mess them.
You could easily stab someone with that. It is sharp enough.
It's sharp enough. You put some force behind it. I mean,
I could easily.
If I took this to your eyeball, you're blind. You're blind. It's over. It's over with.
Dude, yeah. There's.
I guess there's a lot of things you could take to an eyeball.
Hardly any, dude. I mean, you could pierce one's ear with this for sure.
That'd be a huge piercing, dude.
You think?
Yeah, bro. They don't use something that big to pierce, bro. It'd be a visible. I mean, you're basically starting the gauge process if you jab that through your lobe.
Dude, how many subscribers do we have to have for you to start gauges?
There's no number that I'm going to start gauging my ears at.
Come on, guys.
I'm not hating. Some people look.
3 million likes on this video and Jesse's getting gauges.
I mean, dude, 3 million likes would be wild, but.
I mean, I'll get gauges.
Okay, you just go ahead and commit to it.
With you.
I'll do something else down the line. I'll do something cool. Like, dude, if we get 3 million subs, I'll buy a Lamborghini.
Oh, dude, yeah, it's gonna be tough for you to do. It's gonna really hurt.
Yeah,
your soul.
I'm gonna hate it.
It's gonna suck.
I would actually probably never buy a Lamborghini because I would just never want to drive it. I drive it like
I'm
once
not saying that
every few months.
Yeah, I guess it just depends on like, all right, was it a reach for me to buy this? Like,
well, yeah.
If I'm financially capable of buying a Lamborghini, like actually financially, not like, oh, I just happen to have the exact amount of dollars for a Lamborghini and that's it. I'm not counting that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then,
I mean, if I had the amount of money where I could light a Lamborghini on fire and it'd be fine, yeah, I would drive it all the time. But otherwise, I would want something a little more practical.
yeah, I mean, you gotta have something else too. You can't. I mean, I guess you could, but if you're like trying to go to
I want a
Atlanta and
truck
hang out,
to drive on the back roads,
a nice truck,
beer in hand. So anyway, that's all
what
systems
else you
red.
gotta say with? You have anything else?
Not on that one. We can go ahead and get to
Yeah.
artificial condition. So
I like this one more. Did you like it more?
yeah, I like this one more.
Okay.
There's just more to it, and I was just like generally a little bit more into it. So
Yeah.
this one essentially involves him finding out a little bit about his past, but then also kind of getting caught up in another contract, essentially, where he agrees. He does it in order to get like to where he needs to go. He basically takes a security job in order to have a good cover, like a reason for going to the planet. Because that's kind of one of the things about this world is like you can't just like do whatever you want in any situation because there's so much technology that like
Yeah.
people will know something's up pretty easily. Like if you're trying to, you know, be sneaky about it. You ain't getting
Yeah.
no sneaky links in this world. Like people want to know like who you are, why you're here, how long you're going to be here.
Yeah.
So along the way, he meets the ship that we've recognized. Basically, in the beginning of his relationship, it was actually pretty cool. He goes to like what is kind of presented as like a subway system, but like planet-wide. And he makes an agreement via the cloud or whatever with
Yeah.
this system.
Transit like unit.
Yeah, like a
thing.
ship, basically. Makes an agreement that, like, if you let me on here and take me where I need to go and don't log it, I'll give you 800 hours of this type of media for you to watch. And the ship's
Yeah.
like, all right, bet. Go ahead and hop on. So then him and the ship, like, start getting buddy-buddy. At first, he doesn't want to befriend it, but it starts to evolve a little bit. And so you kind of get this idea that, like, because he doesn't have his governor module, like, anything he touches kind of, like, starts to, like,
Yeah. It's good. That's
get a
cool
little bit of
thought.
sentience, which maybe it already had it before. No one had tapped into it at that point yet.
Maybe it's just that smart too. You can't. I couldn't tell. Yeah, if it was like who's in charge of him. That's the only thing. It's like I know. I'm sure it makes. I feel like he wouldn't have been able to like help him if whoever's in charge of him was telling him he had to do something else.
Yeah.
I feel like he just happened to catch him like at a time where.
Yeah. Well, and
can help
basically
him
what
out.
you find out is like the things operating, to dumb it down, the things operating is like a subway bus, but it has the capacity to be a spaceship. To put it into like regular our today terms, that's kind of what you get, because at first Murderbot thinks it's just like a regular bot that like, you know, whatever. But then when it like opens up its wall to analyze him, he analyzes it and realizes, oh, this thing has the capacity to do like, and he says something crazy, but it just hasn't been used in forever, and it's just sitting down here and been reallocated to do this kind of lame job.
Yeah.
So then you find out that that thing's like way more capable than he is and can like do a lot.
Yeah. Well, and it makes you think. I mean, he doesn't have. I guess he has a physical body and it being a ship, but like he's not like Murderbot where he can just walk around.
Yeah.
He's like more just in the cloud
Yeah.
AI,
And his body is a ginormous.
which is is a freaking aircraft carrier.
Yeah, pretty
essentially.
much.
He's
A
like, "Yo,
flying
yo, what's up,
aircraft
man?"
carrier. An aircraft carrier aircraft.
Yeah.
And so one cool aspect about that bot, which we'll just call ship bot, I guess, because I don't remember what he calls it.
I don't even know.
Oh,
that he-
ART. He calls it ART because that's like the
yeah.
ART is the acronym for whatever it is. So ART like is in a somewhat similar way to Murderbot, but even more so, he like really likes his function and like likes to take care of people. So like his
Yeah.
function being traversing people across the planet, he takes it very seriously, like their safety and them getting to their destination on
Yeah.
time. Like it's very important to him, which I thought was kind of a neat little touch that like
Yeah.
that's his program function. So he likes it. But anyway,
Yeah, there's that part too where he has to like basically put himself in his hands when he like shortens his body or whatever to make
Yeah.
it to where he's not the exact dynamics of the sec unit, so he's not as easily recognizable. And I
he
thought
kind of
that was
levels up,
interesting.
dude. That was pretty cool. He gets leveled up in that moment because that's when he also takes out the port. Basically, he like.
Oh yeah, now it's like how I mean, no one's gonna know. Like I guess no people are gonna know.
Yeah.
Like still like that sex bot and some other bots can find out under certain circumstances, but
a couple
now,
of them
like,
found out. They're like, "Yo, this is you." They show him like the TV thing of him, and he's like, "No, man, I'm shorter than that."
Yeah, I'm 1 centimeter.
My arms are shorter. What do you mean?
Yeah. But yeah, that I thought that was I was curious at first. I thought he was gonna get savaged.
Murderbot?
Yeah, I thought like for sure he was getting savaged. I thought he was getting played
By Art?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't ever.
Like during that moment,
where he
has to go into
goes
the med
under?
bay thing, and he's like, "All right, you gotta."
I was
have
curious
to take a
what was
chance,
gonna
and he
happen,
knew,
yeah.
like he like kind of calculated, I think too, and was just like, "All right, I guess I'll take this chance."
Yeah, he basically did the odds, and he was like, "If I want to keep doing what I'm doing, I just have to take this risk because the alternative is there's even less of a chance of success." So
it was funny too how he like kept running the odds or like the different scenarios on like how he could take him down.
Yeah.
And like, I thought about doing scenario C or whatever, whatever that is.
Yeah, but he basically said there was a low chance that I get out of this without being like essentially incapacitated as well.
But I thought that was funny. And then it is interesting. I'm not fully clear on it, so you might be able to help me. So he goes to the spot and finds out that I guess it wasn't his fault.
Yeah, so that sucks. I was hoping you might give me some clarification. So he goes and doesn't really find out anything other than like
that some
of the sec units. Yeah, some of the sec units went rogue.
Yeah.
Essentially is the idea I got. And then some of the sex bots for some reason got up during it happening.
The people,
which they're actually called comfort bots. The comfort bots get up and like try to help out, and they don't really have the capacity to use weapons or anything. So he says they basically just pick up a gun,
and if the safety's on,
if the safety's on, they're screwed. They're just sitting there, not knowing why it's not working, which was kind of sad. Like you can tell he feels sad about it. He's like, they just gave their lives trying to protect us or whatever. But he got savaged in that as well. So I'm not really sure why he came out of it thinking that he did it, but he was wrong, obviously.
So why do we know that he was wrong? Why do we know he's not one of the ones that turned on him?
Well, I guess he doesn't for sure, but he just knows that he got shot up. So he's thinking like by other sec units. So he's thinking that he was one of the ones that got attacked, which we really don't know.
Yeah.
We'll hopefully find out more because essentially the antagonist in this second book is a person who is trying to kill this team that like wants their data back that they didn't get or something like that. Again, you don't really fully know what's going on with what they found out and that kind of thing, but the person who is that antagonist and is trying to kill this team that he's protecting ends up being like knowing something about his origins, but then he kills her. So you're like, oh my God.
Her amongst many others.
Yeah. That scene at the end, dude.
Goes off, dude.
That scene was sick. That was a really cool action sequence.
Yeah.
Because he gets so mad that they hurt the human he was there protecting, the girl or whatever, or the whatever they was. That was one weird aspect. Like, we're not even going to get into like the reality.
It's not even the political
thing
of it. It's just when all three of them are there and it's giving their opinion. It's like,
well, it's not even there, bro. They're saying zer and zay, like ze for.
But there was someone else that was a they.
Yeah, there was a they, but the freaking zer. I was like,
zer was like, all right, I can't imagine. I don't know what to imagine this person looks like.
Yeah, I can't fill in. I'm just thinking of some person. I was about to say. I'm just thinking of that person that when Trump won the 2020 election, that blue-haired person was like, on that video. That's all I'm thinking of when I see a zer in a book, which is fine, I guess.
Unnecessary. But that and then like all the relationships, it's like, is anyone in a monogamous relationship? They're like all in like,
and that's from the first book too. Like Menza has like 5 partners and 18 kids or something. It's like
that can't be logistical.
No,
I mean, just come on. But
I don't think that's ever worked out well for anybody. Just
call me old-fashioned, brother. Yeah, I mean, especially for women. That's what I don't get. Like, how can you have 5 male partners and just you? Like, I don't. How do you know which one's the?
Seems like it'd get tough,
dude. To
endure.
For me as a male, that'd be tough.
I mean, I'm talking about from the woman. It's like five husbands that all want children of their own. Give me a break.
You gotta wait 4 years before it's yours.
Like,
If you take the
before
last
it's your
straw,
turn.
yeah, they like do an auto draft. It's like a fantasy draft. It's like,
They're
God dang it, I got
the
fourth
shortest
pick.
straw. Fourth pick.
Oh God.
So yeah, that part of it, and in this kind of book, like it doesn't take away from it. You're just like whatever, but it does when you're thinking about it from like a perspective of okay, she's written these. I mean, the first book came out only like 6 years ago, I think, or whatever. To me, it's just like, and again, not even. It's really truly not political the way I'm looking at it, but it's like,
Yeah.
why do you got to put this force this kind of idea that this is where we're headed? I can't imagine a world where most people have 6 partners that they live with, and they have kids with all of them.
We can barely have one.
We can barely 51% of people can't maintain one.
Yeah.
So like,
let's put in 4 more. And
Yeah.
that'll be the fix. No way.
yeah,
There's just no
especially in
way.
this situation where like Mensa's gone all the time and not with her
Yeah.
family. Like most of the time is the idea I got is most
Just
of
the
the time.
bros hanging out, dude.
It's just
waiting for
the freaking brother husbands hanging out with everybody's kids
So the
while
sister
mommy's
wives,
away at
the
work.
brother husbands.
Like, I mean, who knows? There's probably a girl in there too, and a Zur and a
Yeah.
fur and everything else. But yeah, it's only really for the sake of the book. I don't care about that kind of stuff. Like
Yeah.
it's fine, it's whatever. Especially when it's futuristic, you're like, okay, you kind of expect like things to be weird when it's futuristic and things are so tech advanced. Like,
Yeah.
to me, it almost seems like a byproduct of like the decrepit nature of humanity once they get too much tech for their own good.
Yeah.
Which maybe that's me reading into it or applying that to something that she didn't mean to.
Mm-hmm.
I'm horrible. But
Yeah. I
just
gotta
for the
think
sake
that.
of reading the book, a ZER does not work for me. A ZE does not work for me because I'm sitting there getting stuck going.
I
"Is
don't
this
even.
a
I just
typo?"
don't know what that means. Either.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know if it's
I'm
her
just
or
so
he,
ignorant that I have no idea what that's even
yeah,
entailing.
like there should be a freaking index in the front of the book explaining what these new made up
Where are
pronouns
you on the
are.
scale? Of I don't even know what the scale is, so it's,
Yeah.
I don't even. Yeah, I don't know. But
But yeah, anyway.
Murderbot luckily is the main focus of the story, so that kind of
Yeah.
gets cruised by. But
Yeah.
yeah, I am curious just to know more about. It has to be some sort of material that they're hiding in the first book, and then clearly something's going on. It's
In the
gotta be
second
the
book,
same
there's
group.
something fairly similar, yeah.
Yeah,
And then he
I'm
always
assuming they're
refers
all
to the
tied back.
company as just the company, which is
I still don't
capital
really
C
get
in
that. Yeah.
it's like he names all these other groups and companies but won't name this one. So it's like, is that the name of the company or is he just for some reason calling it that? I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, you definitely get the sense that like it's almost like you didn't ever watch it, but there's a lot of shows like this you could probably compare it to. But like the Star Wars Clone Wars show, there's a
Mhm.
lot of like arcs where like 3 or 4 episodes are all kind of a similar story. But then there's also like overarching stories that don't get touched on every episode, but they'll come up
Yeah.
every now and then, like a certain character and main plot or more impactful plot to the entirety of Star Wars will come up every
Yeah.
now and then. So it feels like these first 2 books are like just these little episodes in his life that have little bits of the overall story. And as we go through the story, I'm expecting, I mean, especially that one that looks like it's like 300 pages long. I feel like we're going to get more and more of like
Yeah.
the overall story, or maybe
So
it's
this
maybe it
isn't
is
even
just
the
anthology.
newest one.
No,
She
dude.
goes from this
Those
to then
are-
another smaller
yeah,
one.
those are in order. Yeah, that's
mean,
the 3rd one on top and the 6th
I don't
one on
understand
bottom.
that at all.
Yeah, I mean, something crazy must happen in that one. I'm curious to see how long the new one will be.
Yeah, they are cool though. I will say it's a cool idea. The way it's so fast paced, and you're only getting information from Murderbot
Yeah.
makes it to where, like, I guess that's why we probably have questions. Is maybe
Yeah.
he still doesn't know, so we're just learning things as he's learning them, which
Yeah.
is kind of interesting. I still don't understand the world very much, to be honest. Like, if
Yeah.
it is different planets or whatever, like, I'm having a hard time
Yeah.
grabbing that. But a part of that, it does leave me still more intrigued to find
Yeah.
out. So
I think he is on a new planet. He travels cool because
I
they're
think
on.
he is too.
They're
but
on
I-
one planet most of the first book, and then they go to a different planet,
like the main where
like
they
to
actually
where they
live.
work and
Yeah.
stuff. And then this one is a different planet as well. He
Yeah.
goes back to the planet where
Yeah, it felt more
Ganaka
grungy,
Pit
like
was. Yeah,
yeah, not as safe. Whereas hers seemed more progressive because he could walk around and
yeah.
no one was judging him or whatever.
And that is another thing
But-
you get kinda again through his perspective, but you get the idea of the human like class systems. Like there really is,
Yeah.
you haven't seen much of a middle class. There's like people in Men's position that are like powerful, wealthy, like doing big things, and then most of the main humans you meet, like the 3 or 4 in the group that he's protecting, and then the person he meets up with really briefly, they all seem like kind of scared of the world around them and like always looking behind their shoulder. So it does seem like there's a big like gap in the class systems.
It seems sketchy in some places for sure.
Yeah.
And then what I didn't get though is how
Dude,
the one
headphones are
sex
so
back
uncomfortable.
or sex back sex bot.
Dude,
yeah,
I'm
dude,
trying
my
out
ears
for
are getting
sex back on the
savage.
New York Jets.
Dude, a
Little sex back.
purely morale boosting role.
Come here, Aaron.
Aaron, I got you, brother. You look a little tense. You shake that interception off,
We got a
brother.
big game tonight, boy. I need you to come here and get your head in the game.
Oh, my name's the game.
I'm the rapper of the game. Or game.
But no, so it's that was a stupid bit that we just did there. But
Sorry,
no,
we're not funny.
the way the sex bot like tells him to help her, but then like Loki just goes off. It just is the classic. I mean, it just makes sense. Like robots are different than humans, I guess. And
Yeah. Like she has
where-
some autonomy, but not a lot.
Well, she asked for him for help, like in that coded message at the very
Yeah.
end, and then he goes and helps her, and then obviously she's still trying to kill him because she got ordered to, and then
Yeah.
he tells the boss to tell her to stop, and then he like just sets her free, right?
Yeah, he just tells her to leave.
But he doesn't he do
He
something
says, I
to
don't
her?
ever want to see you again. He
But
like,
doesn't he do something to her thing? That like he has?
I believe no.
He
All he
doesn't?
does is he tells whatever the lady's name is, the bad lady, tell her to follow my orders until further notice. And then that's the last command she gets. Then she gets a couple from him, and the last thing he says is,
I don't
go
know why
away
I thought
and never
he like
come
did
back.
something to her little chip to where she
might
can do
have.
whatever she wants.
I don't think whatever she wants. I think she's just, well, maybe. I can't really remember, to be honest.
Because what is it that he has? He's broken his what?
His governor module?
His governor. Yeah, I thought she did that. I could be wrong. Fact
Yeah.
check me in the comments if that's not true.
Yeah.
But then she just kind of is just like,
She just
like,
leaves. Which
alright.
I thought he was about to add somebody to the squad, honestly.
yeah. I mean, I was wanting him
But
to.
he really
and
wants to
he's
go
like, no,
solo.
yeah.
And then he doesn't, I mean, I guess he can't, but like he leaves Art too. He was like,
Yeah.
hold on to this in case we cross paths again, but peace.
That is true. Yeah, that little.
I was kind of bummed,
walkie-talkie,
dude. I wanted Art
essentially.
to like be his boy now, or girl. I don't know if Art's a boy or
Yeah,
girl. I guess
think-
it's neither.
I think I have a feeling Art will be back. I wonder if I don't know though, because the way I need a third book to really get her vibe.
Yeah, and it could just be a more of an anthology series where you do get answers throughout, and maybe it culminates in a big answer in the end, but you're kind of getting just unrelated fun stories. Because again, these are short books, so like
Yeah.
that wouldn't be a surprise if they were more anthology, where you just get these random
I
stories.
almost immediately read the third one.
Yeah, you had to slow down though. We got stuff
Yeah,
going
we got
on.
a lot of other stuff, but anyway, I did like it, and I mean, I'm excited to read the rest of the series.
Yeah.
It's definitely something that I would recommend because it's so easy and it is still like interesting.
Yeah, I'd recommend this to anyone unless they told me they straight up hate like science fiction.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'd be like, just read the first one. It's 150 pages. See if you like it, and if
Yeah.
so, get moving, get
yeah,
tearing.
it's so easy to digest. And then I guess with how short it is, I kind of like how short it is because it's normally I like stuff that's like thick so that I can really get immersed in the world.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm kind of shocked at how much I did like these just because of that
Yeah.
like take that I usually have. Like that's why I like long series. But I guess because it's a series, I'm still getting that fix.
Yeah.
Um,
I felt the same though. I was surprised by how much I enjoyed such a short book. But again, it felt like a palate cleanser. It felt like something short and easy. I wasn't making a huge commitment because we've been reading nothing but either 1,300 page Sandersons or, a thick nonfiction. We're both reading some thick nonfiction right now as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought it was really nice. I mean, it was also another example in the It's Lit book review lifestyle of owning 250 books that you haven't read yet, and then just buying a whole series of books and starting to
that
read
we
those.
didn't know.
That we didn't know before. Didn't know anything about them. Just bought 6 books off the rip and started reading those, and all my other books are just sitting out.
They're like, come on, man.
Come on, man.
Read me.
Read me.
Yeah, what if books had minds, man? And they're like, please.
Dude, that would be terrifying. I'd have freaking 500 souls in here talking to me
Yeah,
all
but
the
they're
time.
like, That'd be a wild concept for a movie, like a Toy Story, but instead of toys, books, and their personalities are based off the content of their books.
Dude, the Rise and Fall of the Third Reich would be a wild personality.
It would be.
Bro, that top shelf would be just
They'd only
Russians
have
going
knowledge.
crazy.
You could honestly really do something cool, because that's kind of like how Night at the Museum is, whereas like Custer
Mhm.
only has like the knowledge of Custer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like no
Yeah.
other concept, and like a really superficial like knowledge. So
Yeah.
I mean, some of these would be funny, like to see like what. Like,
That honestly is kind of a cool
personalities they would
idea. Or
have.
if like it wasn't the book itself, like somehow it gets like, because you couldn't have them all just running their mouths at the same time. Maybe if you open the book, like a little sprint hops out, and it's like, you know, that's Valor's sprint. That's
Yeah. It's one person. The book itself is one person.
yeah, like freaking, you know, what is that? A little hatred sprint. If I like say, yo, little hatred, come out, you're allowed to come out, and this little sprint comes out, starts yapping its trap, or like, dude, what would a Lord of the Rings sprint be like? All 3 books in here.
It'd probably be Gandalf if I had to guess. If I had to pick what character.
Or Tolkien himself.
Oh well, yeah, but
Just
that's
comes out
not.
smoking a pipe.
Yeah, if you're picking a character though from the book, I mean,
It'd have to be Gandalf in that
yeah,
one.
that's what I'm saying. Like if in the series it's like,
What would the Stormlight Archive sprint be? I guess each book might have a different. Oh, each book would be
Yeah.
the past character,
maybe, yeah.
the flashback.
If they all had to
character.
have one, who would you pick? I know who I'd pick. I wonder if you'd pick.
If they all had to have one,
Yeah.
it'd have to be Wit.
Oh, that's a good pick. I wasn't going with, but I mean,
Because I
don't
feel like Wit
disagree
knows
with
what's
that.
going on. Either Wit or the Stormfather.
Oh, I was thinking Dalinar.
Dalinar would be great. Or
He'd be like
Kaladin.
a cool vibe.
Yeah.
I mean,
But Kaladin would get out here and just be like, "Oh, I'm sad,
I'm sad,
Fucking
man.
dork." Dude, I hope it would be Shallan.
Exactly, dude. That would be hilarious, though. That'd be a cool, especially like an animated movie.
Yeah, it'd be a cool animated movie. Honestly,
yeah.
bro, we need to. Don't steal this idea.
Yeah, I
Don't
wonder
steal
what
it.
the
We're gonna
Mind
write it
Comics
down and
book
try
would
to
be
sell
like.
it to somebody. I wonder what
Cut
this
that.
Robert E. Lee book would be like. Just comes out here's like,
I wonder what
the hell you
Stonewall.
got this Frederick Douglass book up here next to me for?
Go on, get
Get out of here,
Go back where you came from.
dude. Have a little Anakin Skywalker hop out of the prequel
Yeah.
trilogy.
You think you'd be friends with Cast?
Who? Anakin Skywalker?
No, you think you'd be friends with
Isabel
book
Wilkerson?
Cast? Yeah.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I mean, if you actually read about Robert E. Lee, there's, some evidence that he maybe wasn't completely. No, I'm not even gonna get into it.
yeah,
You start reading about the times and stuff. There's
He
context.
was a man of the times.
but still not good. I'm not saying it's good at all. It's very bad.
Very, very
bad.
bad.
What he fought
Very
for.
bad.
Very bad. Very bad.
bad.
Bad slavery.
Bad.
Wow.
Yeah.
People are gonna think we're like not kidding. God, dude, we're about to get shut down forever.
That Rasputin book would be real fun to talk to.
I mean, dude, he'd come out here and just start like drugging us or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's so many. I'd like to hear a couple of them talk to each other. Like the Jerusalem book I have, talk to that Hitler book. That'd be crazy.
Wouldn't be a lot of talking. It'd be Hitler popping out going, "Where's something?" He'd try to grab that little sword, bro, and start.
Dude, that'd be hilarious, dude. Tell me that wouldn't be a good, like, not hilarious, like, for that, like, as far as a movie goes.
I would love that.
Here, Hitler, take it. Stalin's war, help him.
And then you get Gandalf out like, "Stop him!"
No.
You start a little war, dude.
No, you
Dude,
shall
that'd be
not
kinda
pass.
sick, bro. Dude, if you start a war, bro, I mean,
Off of
now my
boats,
mind's just going crazy.
That's
Like,
what I'm
who would
saying,
be
dude.
on whose side and who would win in the end?
Yeah. This reminds me of that one movie that Seth, oh gosh, what's that?
Seth Rogen.
Yeah, Seth Rogen with the food. What's that movie? All the food, they're in there like a refrigerator.
Oh, Sausage Party?
Yeah, dude.
That's such a funny movie.
I don't know why, like, I get the same vibes. Like, it could be a comedy
Yeah.
about books doing that. Like, that would be
Dude.
so funny.
What would you
Yeah,
do
like a
if,
sci-fi book.
if Leto the Worm came out of God Emperor?
Bro, I don't know what I'd do, but I
You'd
mean,
probably call upon Dalinar
yeah,
or
I'm trying to
something.
figure out who I would call upon, honestly, and I can't think. I mean, yeah, I'd figure something out, though, dude, and get that guy out of here.
Dude, it'd be so crazy to have, like, you ever seen Death Battle on YouTube? Where they
Yeah,
pin,
it's
like,
claymation.
bro, that'd be, well, no, they have them now where it's like, dude, have you ever seen the one of Omni-Man and Homelander?
I don't know who Homelander is.
He's from The Boys. You've never watched The Boys on
yeah,
Prime?
I do know who you're talking about now. Then,
Dude. All right, we're gonna watch this after that video. We're gonna watch that. But dude, can you imagine doing a death battle? I call upon Kaladin from Oathbringer to go up against Darth Plagueis. Just see what happens. Like, it'd be kind of sick.
Bet on it, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the Hulk versus Shalon.
I don't have a book with the Hulk in it, so that wouldn't work.
My fault.
Come on, dude, get it together. Wow, man, what a strange tangent we just went on, but that would be so cool.
I don't know why. Yeah, hey, someone make it happen, dude. Especially if we were good at like those animations, like within Photoshop. Cause, dude, have you watched a lot of those? Like, I know Stormlight has them. I'm sure other books have them too, where people will do like
the little like cartoon sketch looking, like animations
of like different scenes. Anyway, but
there's one of the first scene of Zeth going through and killing Gavilar.
Oh yeah, I know.
So
I've seen
cool.
that one. That one is really cool.
But dude, then it'd also be cool to be like, all right, I call upon Abraham Lincoln and George Washington or Thomas Jefferson and be like, have a conversation about like American, government and stuff.
That'd be
or even
hilarious.
go further, go like George Washington and George H.W. Bush.
Yeah.
Like talk about the different. I mean, George Washington would have a heart attack pretty quickly to find out what American politics look like. But yeah, he'd take the little sword. He'd be like, I call upon Kaladin to kill me.
I call upon Napoleon. Napoleon. Oh,
wow, man. This is fun to
Can you
think about,
imagine
actually.
Taking shrooms and thinking about this.
No, dude, that would probably scare me. Taking shrooms and then it starts happening. You're just like, oh, no.
Oh, God. God, help.
I call upon Wang
Help
from the
a
Three
king.
Body Problem to make your microfibers.
Yeah, that's who I'm
I mean, dude, there'd be some deep cuts. You'd be able to call on so many more cool things than me because of all your
there's a bunch,
fantasy.
dude,
You would
in this
wreck
one.
my people, honestly.
Well,
I've got a lot of
these don't
Star
have
Wars,
magic.
though.
I mean, obviously Rand from, he's so OP, bro.
Yeah.
That might be a spoiler, but
I mean, I've got a mythology book. I'm just calling on Zeus.
I mean, there could be some dumb ones that you could call upon that would just be hilarious, you know?
Like C-3PO?
That or like Dante from
Jonathan Harker from Dracula.
You start calling them on randoms, dude. You don't even get main characters. On who's what's his name, dude? I'm God. Game of Thrones, the dwarf.
Tyrion.
Yeah,
Tyrion Lannister.
Yeah.
Tyrion Lannister.
Lannister.
Tyrion Lannister up against Wolverine.
It's like, oh God.
He'd somehow
His
win. He'd
body.
start talking and somehow make Wolverine kill himself or something.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
all right, that
as
was
far
a
as
tangent.
Murderbot
Yeah.
goes, I feel like we talked about everything.
Yeah, basically where we're at on the second one, he goes off again to like do something else. I don't really know what his plan is here.
I'm sure I'll get caught back up in the third one about where we're at.
Yeah,
It's so quick paced. It's kind of got to.
Yeah, so we've kind of got a lot coming up here down the line. There's going to be like 3 videos of me saying this, which will show how long it's taking me to read it. But got the Thomas Jefferson book. Thomas Jefferson book, The Art of Power, coming up. We've got Tale of Two Cities. We've got Shadow of the Gods by John Gwynne. We've got The Silmarillion. So stay tuned for those as they release, and let us know how you're liking these videos in the comments. Like, subscribe. Anything else?
No, we should probably add our Goodreads in case if the 3 people that watch these wants to
Follow us.
see what we've read and
You should throw them
what
up
we
on the
rate
screen.
stuff. Yeah, I'll throw up on screen. Leave a little link in the description.
Nice.
Because I feel like that's where I like. I don't know. I like looking at what people read and stuff.
Yeah,
for
me too.
sure.
I like Goodreads. If only they could overhaul their app and make it a little more. Every time they tweet still. I'm going to screenshot a few of them and send them so you can throw them up. Every time they tweet something, I comment something along the lines of, can y'all please overhaul your
So is it
app?
called tweeting still?
Xing? I don't know. That's a good question.
Dude, my dad told me that. I was like, there's no way he's correct about that. Because I don't use Twitter.
Yeah.
And I haven't in like 5 years.
Try to find Twitter on there.
Yeah, it's top right now. But when he told me that it was X, he's like, what do you think about Twitter rebranding to X? And I'm like, what?
And you see how the app like looks like, like worn?
Yeah.
I don't like that.
You don't?
No. It just looks so different than the other apps. Like, dude, I don't even click on it barely. I forget what it is.
Yeah.
It's like become an app that I don't see.
I just wonder why he did that.
I don't know, man. He's going off the rails, honestly.
Really?
I mean, I don't know. I don't follow
Maybe he is. I
what's
don't
going
know.
on, but I do think those were kind of silly moves. I mean,
Yeah.
Twitter's like everybody knows what. Even if you don't use Twitter, you know what Twitter is.
Oh yeah, especially the logo and stuff. I'm just saying the branding.
And
if you would've
everybody's
just
still
renamed
calling
it
it
X,
that.
what,
Yeah.
Twitter?
Yeah, nobody's
Yeah.
saying X. Like all the podcasts I listen to, they're still saying tweet and Twitter,
Yeah.
which is kind of funny. Hopefully it stays that way and it's just called X, but no one calls it that.
Would be hilarious, dude. He need to add a bird into it to where like the bird has like X's on its eyes where it died or something. Like he could have done so many things that would have been funny.
If
like-
only he had you, bro.
Follow me.
If only.
Well, we're also having an in-depth review of the first Republican primary debate coming up as well. Can you imagine, dude?
No, I cannot.
Yeah, Candace Owens will be on later in the
Candace
week.
Owens. And then right
we're gonna
after
start
that,
getting
we'll have
really
Alex
political.
Jones.
God, dude.
Oh man, Bernie Sanders will be on the following week.
Buddy.
But yeah, I think that's it.
That is it. Stay tuned.
Yep, I'm James Franco. That's Seth Rogen. We'll see you next time.
Peace.